So it's been a while. We're gonna get back to doing the life skills lessons. So the one that I left off on that I need to pick back up before we get going is how to get a loan. The last one was how to build credit. A lot of you are gonna start needing this because you are getting to that age. So what I mean by that is usually when you turn 18, you are going to want to buy a car, you're going to want to buy a truck. Eventually, at some point, you're going to want to buy a house. You're going to want student loans. All of that goes into credit. Okay, and typically you can't get credit if you don't have credit. So then people are like, how do you get credit? You gotta start small. So like that was the last video. Get like a small credit card, get a small limit, make sure you pay it off every month. That's how you start building your credit. Once you start building it and people can see that you're responsible and you're gonna pay every month, then you can get bigger things, aka like a house. Now, you have to find a loan officer, and that typically means that you find like a business that's what they do. They're called mortgage brokers. And they will handle your mortgage. Now, you can always find a mortgage broker at a bank. So you can go to your bank and say, do you have a mortgage broker here? And you can talk to them. My advice is shop around. Like, go to your bank and say, what are your interest rates? And then go to a mortgage broker and say, what are your interest rates? And go find another mortgage broker and say, what are your interest rates? And then you can find out which one's going to be the cheapest. The things they're going to need from you are the things that we talked about earlier in the semester, like tax returns, like your W-2s and that kind of stuff. Because they have to prove that you have a job. Because they can't get you a house if they can't prove that you have a job and a salary. Because then people are going to be like, yeah, you want $200,000, how are you paying for that every month? So, but they can give you things like, okay, you're going to buy a house for $150,000 at 3% interest, it's going to be $1,100 every month. Or you get the idea. They're going to give you a breakdown based on what you want and what you can afford. And that's the point of them getting the W-2s from you, is to see what you can afford. Now, the interesting thing about your loan is your interest rate is based off of, guess what? Good credit. So, like, if you have good credit, your interest rate tends to be lower. If you have bad credit, your interest rate tends to be higher. That's because they're taking a risk. If you have bad credit, it means you have a bad history of not paying your stuff on time. So they're taking a risk giving you the money. So they're going to make you pay more because they're taking a risk giving you that money. If you have good credit, and it means that you pay your stuff off all the time, and you have a good history, then it means that they'll give you a lower one because it's a lower risk for them. They know that they're going to get their money back from you, so they give it to you for a lower rate. Okay? That's why it's important. I don't know if anybody's ever had this conversation with you, but your credit is important. So when you start, don't go out and get like a $2,000 gift card or credit card and blow it and be like, oh, I'll just transfer it to this card, and then I'll transfer it to this card, and I'll transfer it to this card. It's not like Oprah. It's not like you get a card and you get a card. It doesn't work that way. Okay? Like, some people do that. But then it messes up their credit, and then you're to buy a house or a car or something like that, and they're like, well, I can't buy it because my credit's not good enough. And they got to spend 6 months to a year trying to fix their credit to get the thing that they want. If you just start off with good credit, then you can get it when you want it. Make sense? But that's pretty much the way you go about getting a loan. And you can do, I'm obviously talking about a house because those are the only loans I've ever really taken out, but you can do it with student loans. You can do it with what they call private or small loans. So you can do it for things that you want, like a car, or you can do it with things like, let's say you need $10,000 for some odd reason. You can go to your bank and say, I want to take out a loan for $10,000. Now, usually when it's a private loan, the interest rate tends to be higher because they don't really know what you're using it for. Like, you can tell them, but it's like unspecified a lot of the times. So it's a bigger risk for them, which goes back to that whole thing I was talking about. Like, when it's a bigger risk, they're going to charge you more. When it's a lower risk, they're going to charge you less. But did anybody have any questions about it? Because I know that was a lot of info in a short amount of time. Seemed pretty simple, right? The hard part is just going out and getting it. So I know none of you are probably ready for that yet. You will be in a few years, and then you'll be like, oh, what was that conversation we had? Oh my gosh. But it will help you out if y'all ever need to come back and ask me anything, shoot me an email. Okay. So, see y'all later.